this chapter, we're going to be focusing on the needs, both personal and interpersonal needs, that need to be fulfilled in order to have successful and fulfilling relationships and lives. I make a distinction here between personal needs and interpersonal, and there are some needs that we can and are responsible for fulfilling ourselves. Sometimes we mistake personal needs for needs that other people are responsible for fulfilling, and that can really get us into trouble when we hold them responsible for that. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about that as we go into this. But we want to really just go over the list of needs that we have that we all have to fulfill in order to experience satisfaction in our relationships and in our personal lives. And the first one is basically the need for to have our material needs met for food, clothing, and shelter. Until this need is met, we really will be preoccupied with it and won't be able to attend to other needs. So this is fundamental, this is foundational, this is a survival need.
The next one is our need for rest, relaxation, and rejuvenation. We live in a really fast-paced society. There's a lot of stimulation and a lot of demands on our time and energy. We sometimes don't realize that the irritability that we're experiencing is coming from not having gotten enough sleep, not having gotten enough deep sleep, not having enough time off to pull ourselves together. And it is a basic human need, and if we're not attending to getting enough rest and relaxation, we are going to see it show up in all of our relationships, including our relationship with ourselves and with others.
The next need is the need for safety and security. This refers to a feeling of confidence in our ability to provide ourselves within an environment that is secure and protected. And that doesn't just refer to an external environment, like having locks on your doors or having a security system around your house, but it refers to having an inner feeling of security within yourself, confidence that you can and will provide what you need in order to see to it that you're protected. And that means that if you're in an environment or in a relationship in which there is you're not getting the kind of response that will reaffirm that and will provide you with those feelings, that you have the obligation to yourself, the responsibility to do what's necessary in order to bring that about. It also means that if your internal environment, if you have an internal experience of yourself in which you're constantly feeling criticized or judged by yourself, that is causing you to feel diminished in some way, that that's something that you need to take care of so that you can trust yourself to be kind, to be respectful, to be non-judgmental with yourself. When we don't take on that responsibility, then we make that a requirement for other people, and that's not always something that they can provide.
The next need is for connection and community. Now, some people are more self-contained, they are more on the loner end of the spectrum, and even the people that are that end of the spectrum still need to be in connection with some others and have community and friendship and support. Then there are others of us who are on the other end of the spectrum that to thrive, we need connections with people, multiple, every day of our lives to be at our best. I'm one of those people who's a big-time connector. And to know ourselves well enough to know how much solitude we need and how much connection we need, and if we need a lot of connection to thrive, that we are purposeful and responsible about going after that need. I myself have a list of, I call it my dialing for dollars list. That's my closest friends. I've got about 20 names on there because people are so busy. You might go down that whole list till you can find somebody to talk to. But I know that that's when I'm at my best, when I'm in relationship with other people. And we all need feedback and input and support and encouragement and people to be our believing eyes to help us get, particularly through difficult parts of our life, but to celebrate with us when things are going really well.
The next need that we have is not something that is essential for our survival. You can live without this need being met, as you can with some of the other ones. But we're talking about needs that are essential for a high well-being, a sense of high well-being in life. And this is the need for play. And a lot of us think that play is something that we outgrow when we become adults. And when we have decided that play isn't so important to us, play is more than just engaging in games or sports, but play really has to do with an attitude. It's an attitude that we bring to our activities. You can be very playful at work, and you can also be very unplayful playing tennis. So it depends upon what kind of an attitude you're bringing. The attitude of playfulness has to do with an enjoyment of the activity just for its own sake. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily about winning or losing, although it's not always nice to win. But if you can't enjoy what you're doing without winning, then you're probably not playing. Linda and I have 3 grandsons who have been our teachers for play. And they play all day. And they remind me that it's just as important for me to play as it is for me to make sure that the bills get paid.
Mm-hmm. The next need is for autonomy. And sometimes people feel a little off. They don't quite put their finger on what's bothering them, but something's not right. And this is essential to feel well-being. We need to feel I am in charge of my own life. I can make my own decisions. Sometimes it's because work, their bosses running their life too much. There might be micromanaging supervisors. They don't feel like they have any room to breathe. Sometimes people feel like that in romantic partnerships. Sometimes people feel like the rules of the church are caging them and putting them in a cell, and they're not feeling free. We have a need for it. We must feel free to make choices that are life-enhancing according to our own style and our own values.
The next need has to do with creative expression. And we all have gifts. And those gifts will only create a feeling of fulfillment within us if we share them, whatever that might be. And there's just an infinite variety of ways to express your gifts and to make art in your life. And to the degree that we can do this, that we can really acknowledge and express and share our gifts.
The next need is for purpose and meaning. And sometimes people don't realize that their life is not as rich and full unless they know that they are on purpose in their life and that their life has meaning because they are giving of themselves to others. One of the people that we interviewed when we were writing our last book told us, "It feels so good to give." And he was expressing what so many of us feel, that when we have a way to contribute, when we have somebody's life that we touch, that we know makes a difference, it makes us feel so joy-filled to be able to do that. And so to find what it is that lights us up and to be busy about doing that which makes our life meaningful.
Learning, growth, and challenge, which are all related to this quest for meaning, are very important in this process. There's a great line in a Bob Dylan song that he who isn't busy being born is busy dying. And learning is about giving birth to those parts of ourselves that we haven't fully experienced or expressed. It's about living more on the edge of life and not living in a comfort zone. It's about the willingness to really express and tap into aspects of our own life and of our relationship that we maybe have not been willing to experience yet. There's an infinite number of possibilities in terms of what we can experience and create and share when we take this on as a commitment. And relationships probably provide more opportunities than some of us would want them to.
And last but not least is the need to give and receive love. And if we're not engaged in the giving and receiving love, our life is going to be shriveled and small. We need to be involved with other people in such a way that our heart is open and that we give to them in the way we speak to them, in the way we touch them, in the way we show respect to them, in the way we listen them, that there are so many ways to show that we're devoted, that we care, and to be creative and expressive and give our heart in those ways, and to open ourselves up to be gracious receivers and let the people who care for us give to us, and to be willing to take responsibility to cue them for the ways we both can feel love. We feel love when we're touched, when we're hugged, when we're listened to. We feel love when we're spoken to about our greatness, when we're acknowledged with words of affirmation, when they do little acts of service for us, like bringing us a small gift, and that it's very idiosyncratic how we feel soul-nourished by having love shown. And that if we get in dialogue with the people that we're closest to about the way they feel loved and the way we feel loved, that exchange can keep our soul tanks filled to the brim, and that's our fuel for our life when our needs are all met.